if we have intercourse these days, nope, you guys do that, not me.
If we have it.
It's like if I use the royal we, it's just all wrong.
That's hilarious.
And one time I told somebody, I was trying to say that something would be the best bang for their buck with regards to like scheduling intercourse ahead of fertility, and I just said best bang.
It doesn't have to be the best. Sometimes the best don't make the baby.
And I just let that hang in the air there, and there was just no recovering that sentence. It just didn't get any better after that.
This is a hack. I think I've talked about this on here before. When I leave therapy, I pull up ChatGPT and I talk to ChatGPT and kind of rehash the session and things that we talked about. And I tell it to like summarize it and then give me feedback.
Oh.
Life hack. Basically, ChatGPT said to me, maybe you wanting to empower, encourage other women, and that deep desire is stemming from an overcompensation because you do not feel empowered or encouraged. It's like,
owie. It didn't scare me one bit, because if I'm going to hustle and I'm going to bet on something, you better believe I'm going to hustle and bet on myself.
That's the thing. You can work for somebody else or you can work for you.
Yeah, and I may never get rich doing this, but there is nothing I would rather be doing with my time, and I'll take that bet every day.
Okay, I gotta get into it. Hello, welcome to the podcast, everybody. My name is Sarah Ray. I'm a creative entrepreneur based in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is the UnNicheable podcast. I have a very special, very awesome guest on the podcast today. You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Needham. I'm a pharmacist like Sarah, and I specialize in fertility. I'm board certified in functional medicine, and I work one-on-one with women to help them conceive without IVF.
Love it. Elevator pitch. Boom.
Elevator.
Yeah, and I don't even know if people really know. I don't think I've talked about it on here very much. I am actually a licensed pharmacist.
Oh, so sorry if I just
dropped it. I don't
Did I just dox you?
I'm not hiding it. So that was my first career. I graduated from pharmacy school when I was 23, and I worked as a pharmacist for like 7 years before I started my photography business, and then I've been a photographer for the last like 10 years. Yes, I think I'm older.
27.
I think I'm older than I look. I don't know. I'm afraid to ask that question.
You look very young.
Okay, good. So do you.
Right answer.
We were just talking about how we were dressing to try to we want to dress for the style of the day.
Folk.
The young folk. I don't want to be that cringe
folk.
It's such a line.
Don't want to be cringe.
Right. You don't want to be cringe, but you also don't want to be old. It's like that Kathy Bates. I'm too old to be old.
Too young to be old?
I'm too young to be old. And I'm too young. I don't know. I don't remember. I've messed it up.
I think that's the gist.
We'll put it in here.
That's the gist.
So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I really don't know what to do with my hands.
I know.
In this. I'm like, do I Christina Aguilera it, or
I should have got you a Britney Spears mic.
or like newscaster?
We really are showing our age with that one too.
Christina Aguilera?
And maybe not. She did.
Ariana Grande.
There we go. There. Renee Rapp. She's a young person. Do you know her?
I don't know who that is.
She was in Mean Girls.
I've seen Mean Girls.
Yeah. Well, in the new one, the musical.
Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. What were we saying?
I don't know.
We just took an ADHD left turn, I think. Oh, a good thing we edit these and they're not live.
Nobody knew you were a pharmacist, but you were.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
then now we're old.
Now we're old, and that's it.
And the end.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
coming.
No. So yeah, it's such a weird thing. So Catherine and I met because our husbands were friends, and we just both. So they're engineers, and we just both happen to also be pharmacists.
Boom.
And she's like a much cooler pharmacist than me with like a business.
Incorrect.
Well, I think it's more interesting than what I did as a pharmacist, like what you do working with women.
I do love it. I think selfishly it's very interesting. I love it, but don't throw me a gentamicin trough and expect me to interpret it. That's all you.
We gotta have them nomogram cheat sheets.
Gotta
That's
have
all
them
I'm gonna
nomograms
say.
for the hospital.
Yeah, so I guess let's see. How did you get? I mean, I kind of know the answer to this story, but for our viewers, how did you get started in this whole fertility space?
I went through infertility myself, and as a relatively young professional, so I wasn't really ready for just full-blown IVF, IUI, all these interventions. Fortunately, I was already working as a compounding functional medicine pharmacist. I had my own clinic basically of menopausal women. So I was already in the space of hormone balance. And so when I approached infertility and the clinic as a whole, my thought was, well, can't we just figure out what's going on so that I can have my own ovulation, my own cycle, so that I can conceive on my own. And in so doing, hopefully optimize my long-term health. And that was one of my top questions is how is what I'm experiencing now regarding fertility, what does that mean about my long-term health? And that just wasn't part of the conversation at that point in time specifically. So I took a deep dive. I read every article that there was just about on PubMed of these like 46 women in India using this supplement and what their end results were. And I just never stopped doing that. And I eventually did go on to have 4 kids on my own, and the old-fashioned way, shall we say. And
Just a little bit of help with education.
just the education, yes. And so I applied that to myself. And I think all healthcare providers probably we do that, treat ourselves like patients. And I just could not leave fertility behind as far as a professional passion. Oh, my mom hates the word passion. As a professional,
She's not here.
she's not here, but as something that my professional focus, I really anticipated that once I kind of got over the hurdle of infertility for myself, I might leave it behind and kind of move on to the next professional idea, but I couldn't leave it behind. And so I did functional medicine pharmacy outpatient for 9 years. And then almost 2 years ago now, I launched my own consulting for one-on-one with women.
Awesome. So women come to you who are struggling to conceive.
Yes, I did not elaborate that very well. Yes, I work one-on-one with women who are somewhere between thinking about having a baby, making sure that everything's ready when they are ready, all the way up to and including egg freezing and IVF.
Yeah. And what I love about what you do is the context as well of like, this isn't just about how to like have a baby, even though that's obviously a big focus for the women you work with.
Absolutely.
But it is also about thinking about your overall health and how hormones really impact your overall health for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life. And one of the most common reasons that we across America are seeing a rise in infertility has to do with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which there's kind of a spectrum of that, and there are different, even sometimes called like subtypes of it. But there is in some women an underlying insulin resistance blood sugar issue. And that's not just affecting their fertility in their 20s. That's something that we need to tackle now so that we can get ahead of any cardiovascular risk factors that can come along with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's me. I'm a PCOS girly myself. And I can tell you from my experience, like getting my insulin resistance under control was such a game changer for me. Aside from like the children thing, which I don't have kids, but it really changed my mood. It changed the way that I approach things, the way that my brain, there's everything about my life. My body just felt more comfortable once I got that insulin resistance.
That's great.
Under control.
Yeah.
I also lost 85 pounds.
Holy cow. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you.
So yeah, because when I got diagnosed with PCOS, I also had they checked my blood, and I had checked an A1C level, which if you're diabetic or know who somebody who's diabetic, you know that that's sort of a measure of what your blood sugar is over a period of time. And it was almost diabetic. Like I almost at 7. And so that's why they decided that they were going to put me on medicine.
Yeah.
And I lost all the weight. And now my A1C is normal.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's
good for you. That's a lot of hard work too.
I mean, honestly, it should have been, but it wasn't. Like I just took the meds.
Take the credit for it.
I just took the meds and the things happened. I mean,
there you go.
It's crazy because like I was telling somebody, and so and I'm not. Shut up. And the med that I was on, a lot of people have heard of because a lot of people use it for weight loss, Mounjaro, tirzepatide. That's the drug that was like a game changer for me. And I will always want to be on the med personally because of, like I said, what it does, treating that insulin resistance. I don't have these like highs and lows in my blood sugar. And so therefore my mood is more stable because we know when that happens, your mood gets a little wonky. So yeah. And among other things, like,
if you're not ovulating regularly, you're not getting those floods, kind of that call and response of estrogen before ovulation followed by progesterone. You tend to live more in an estrogen state, which is okay for part of the cycle, but they're made to kind of call and response in that way. And if you're not ovulating regularly, like a lot of PCOSers are not, you're not getting the benefit of that wave of progesterone that comes afterwards.
Yeah, it sucks to be a woman. But I will say, I don't think I've talked to you. So I lost all of that weight and then went off the drug because, of course, insurance stopped covering it.
Yeah.
And went back on it recently. And I had forgotten how much better my periods are on Monjaro.
So you're not estrogen dominant.
Yeah, my periods are so much more painful and heavy when I'm not on it. Like, it's honestly wild to me, the difference. And I had kind of forgotten that piece of it. And then when I went back on it, I was like, oh my God, this is so much better.
Yeah, and that has an interplay with estrogen, progesterone balance, insulin balance, all of those things. And you can forget how good you can feel when it's kind of a slippery slope down to how you once felt as your baseline, and you don't realize that you feel so vastly different. And on the flip side, it's easy to forget how bad you once felt when you've been feeling okay for a long time. You don't realize how much things have improved.
Yeah. So I guess, let's see. I had a question when you were talking.
And I ruined it.
No, my brain, I just need to take a second Adderall. Yep, my
Better
dose.
living through science.
I know, medication.
But not fertility medication. We do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So for me, because I wasn't really seeking for fertility treatment at all when I got put on medication by my OB-GYN, what are some things that if you have a client that comes to you, I guess with or without a PCOS diagnosis, like what are some of the first things that you will tell people to kind of help educate themselves and then sort of help them become more sort of even keel, I guess?
It varies from woman to woman, but the things that I don't change from woman to woman are how much we talk about cycle charting and how much we talk about why cycle charting is a reflection of your health and why cycle charting specifically with cervical mucus is like almost a minute by minute, play by play of your real-time fertility because of how well it mirrors hormonal shifts. And so I talk about that a lot with them and what that means and kind of what our ancestors, how that would have played out like anthropologically. And so I never skimp on that. We always start with that. And then most women that come to see me have cycle charted a little bit to know that, oh, that's not what I experience or that is very close to what I see. So why am I not pregnant? Those are very common questions. And so what we do is at the first appointment, it's about an hour. I talk to them about what the body's doing and why. And then we try to assess where they kind of fall on that continuum, on that spectrum of normal. And then we move forward with those things that might be slightly out of range and forge ahead and optimize those. And sometimes that involves lab work pretty close to the outset, but not always, because a lot of times we can see what we need to via the cycle charting. But I certainly, if I have my druthers and I can get lab work on somebody sooner than later, I do measure a lot of metabolic aspects of their health, their A1C, like you mentioned. I also often do a fasting insulin level, fasting blood sugar. A lot of times they bring me a lipid panel, so I pick that apart for them as well to see what everything's doing, because that's a reflection of inflammation. Then I always look at FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone or LH, and estradiol on cycle day 3. And I go through those not just with what the reference range from the lab says is quote normal, or they've been told no, they said everything is fine. I'm like, I'll believe it's fine when I see that it's fine. Mm-hmm. So those 3 I absolutely have to have if we're doing cycle day 3 labs. Those tell us a lot about how many eggs they kind of have on deck. Also AMH or anti-Müllerian hormone, I love to get if at all possible. And thyroid, I do a more extensive thyroid panel than just one TSH.
Yeah.
And then we look at all of that in conjunction to add kind of color to the picture of their fertility. It's not just, oh, well, you fit nicely in this one little box. There's so much more to it than that. And there's so much more that comes into play with regards to their preferences than that. And I feel very strongly that there should be some shared decision making with regards to that, and finding out ways that best optimize each cycle so that each cycle they're as fertile as they can be for that cycle. I mean, down to the day we'll look and be like, okay, well, if this cycle is just like last month, then that means your fertility will probably start about this point and you should have intercourse this, and this day all the way through here. and then we should circle back and talk again at this point.
I love your approach in the sense that, like you said, it feels more collaborative. So you're not just a healthcare provider being like, do this, take this. It's more, let's talk about like how you can really understand your body and what's happening.
The education piece.
Yes, because like that's just not something like in the modern day healthcare system.
Nope. Or school system.
Yeah.
That we're taught.
That just really happens. Like people don't have the time really to kind of.
But I do.
Exactly.
They have 7 minutes with their OBGYN. She does not have time to listen. She may be great, but they don't have time to listen to all the shades of gray around why you have the concerns that you do.
Yeah, because, and it's not that individual provider's fault necessarily.
No.
This is how the system has been built.
Yes.
And unfortunately, like until we change legislation.
The entire system, which I can't do, but I can help one lady at a time.
Exactly.
I can't do it for everybody all at once, but one at a time. I'm getting the people pregnant.
Yes, we can only control what we can control, and so this is a way to impact that.
It is, and it's exactly what I envisioned. As surely this is an option for people who don't want to pursue IUI or IVF. I was like, this has to exist, and it did not. It didn't exist, and I have plenty of time.
Yeah,
I spent an hour for the first appointment and about 30 minutes with each one subsequent, and they're about 2 to 3 weeks apart. And of course, like ongoing support in between. So there's nothing but time. I do not stack appointments on top of each other. I'm not here to rush you. And if all you want to do is scream into the void, I will do that with you as well.
Yeah.
And air your frustrations. And we'll tackle all of those.
All the things.
All of those.
And I want people to know, knowing Kathy, like she's so invested in like you actually, for most of our clients, like getting that baby in your arms.
Absolutely.
Like completely
Probably a little
invested
too much. Because I'll say things and I'm like, can't do that. Can't say like, well, if we have intercourse these days, nope. You guys do that, not me.
If we have it.
It's like if I use the royal we, it's just all wrong.
That's hilarious.
And one time I told somebody, I was trying to say that something would be the best bang for their buck with regards to like scheduling intercourse ahead of fertility, and I just said best bang.
It doesn't have to be the best. Sometimes the best don't make the baby.
And I just let that hang in the air there, and there was just no recovering that sentence. It just didn't get any better after that.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm very, very invested, and
you getting what you want. I love it.
Don't think about that too hard either.
Heavy editing.
Or not.
Yeah, we'll leave it in there.
Maybe leave that in there.
No, I mean, it's entertaining. That's what we're here to do.
And it is part of it because so much of it comes down to timing. And most women I've talked with, almost without exception, they've downloaded a free app that has said, oh, your period started, May 1st. You're going to be fertile on May 14th because the textbooks, the algorithm, they all say 28-day cycle, you ovulate on day 14.
Which, by the way, has not been researched nearly enough.
It's like 20% of women who ovulate at that point. Most cycles aren't 28 days. The average is actually closer to 29. Anywhere between 26 and 35 is considered normal, and I would dare say that somewhere a tighter range there is about optimal. But certainly you can have a very healthy fertility picture, ovulate on cycle day, say 17, and have periods every 30 days, and you are just as fertile as anybody else. You don't have to ovulate on that day. You could ovulate on day 11 and have 24-day cycles. Any number of these things can be very normal and very healthy for your fertility picture, but if you trust an app, it's never going to tell you that that's when you ovulate. It doesn't know.
Yeah, it's
does
dumb.
not know.
It's just an algorithm.
It is. There are more like femtech things coming out that have taken some of that guesswork out. Keg is one. I really guess basal body temperature kind of frequently, but temp drop, Aura rings have taken some of the issues that can arise from just human error with regular basal body temperature monitoring. But there's still lots of room for each woman to understand what those algorithms are telling them instead of just assuming the algorithm is right, being led by the app. We should be trusting the woman's instinct as to whether or not what she's experiencing matches that. So I always err on the side of trusting my client versus an app.
Yeah.
If what she's observing, if what she's telling me is that she has fertile peak type cervical mucus, that trumps just about everything for me because of how closely it aligns with hormonal changes and because I trust what each woman is experiencing more than just about anything.
Yeah. Oh, shit. My brain is really not braining today. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, she said that. That would be a good question.
Breathing on my armpits over here.
Yeah, just put your on.
I didn't wear a blazer because of that. like I'm going to get sweaty if I do that. I'm going to get sweaty if I don't do that, clearly.
Let's see. Cool. I cut it off when I'm not here.
Well, yeah, you don't need to be cooling it.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay. Make sure this didn't disconnect. Yeah. Okay. And it's so important to understand your own body when you're younger. I think that's something that will serve you later because, as most of us know, you get to a point where you become perimenopausal and menopausal. And so if you already have a good foundation of understanding hormones and your body and what it's doing, I feel like so many women in the past are blindsided by perimenopause and menopause. Yeah. And so if you're already sort of aware and educated, it's going to make that transition
so much easier. And because perimenopause, which just means the time before menopause where things start to fluctuate, can start 10 to 15 years prior to menopause. Not to fearmonger, but menopause can be as early as the early 40s or late 30s. So you can have somebody who's in their late 20s who fits a menopausal picture, and not to say that they need to like run out and freeze their eggs or anything, but if they have the information and they can see that, oh, my cycle lengths are fluctuating, let me look at whether it's my pre-peak up to ovulation part that's fluctuating or my post-peak, my after ovulation that's fluctuating. And that will tell them so much more information about their body than any app ever could. And they probably weren't taught that.
Right. Where it's not something that we're taught.
Nope.
Like
we're taught about pads.
Yeah.
Tampons.
And like the birds and the bees. Like
yes, that too. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, maybe not everybody. I mean, you don't ever know what, especially in the South, sometimes people don't talk about that stuff. But I mean, yeah, like it's not something, that you're really, especially if you're not medical. Like,
yes. Yeah.
If you don't go in any kind of medical field at all, you probably have never even heard of luteinizing hormone until you might struggle getting pregnant.
Exactly. That's a really valid point, because a lot of what I learned about my own body, it's more like I learned in anatomy, physiology in undergrad and not other places.
Right.
Not in any other sort of legitimate way.
Yeah. And there's nothing intentional about it. Like, because people don't want to talk about it.
I do.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Like,
probably too much. 3 sons and a daughter. They're going to know.
Yeah.
Things.
Well, I mean, people are always like, well, women are so complicated or whatever. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah. And it's really cool, actually.
Because making an egg every month is hard work.
Yeah, it is.
And men have circadian rhythms. They have the same hormonal picture more or less every single day. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that makes them, I'll say though, the thing that makes them more complicated is if I make a change today to impact their sperm health, I'm not seeing anything change-wise for about 70 to 90 days. If I see something, let's pretend I see some insulin resistance or perhaps a low DHEA level on a lady's labs this month, I can make a change on that and impact this cycle under the next. Very quick changes with regards to how we can impact female fertility as far as like egg health and sperm health. So in that regards, women are easier.
Women are easier. Well, what is it? I think you told me the stat, like it's just as likely that the man is responsible for infertility.
That's right. Because their cells are 50% of the DNA, 50% of, the sperm cells have to be healthy enough to survive the female reproductive tract, to reach an egg. They have to kind of have all the chemicals necessary to find the egg, because there's kind of a call and response perhaps between healthy egg, healthy sperm, and to fertilize the egg. If you're somebody who has a lower sperm count, or perhaps your sperm cells on average are more abnormally shaped, that can impact your fertility and therefore your wife's fertility or your partner's fertility. So it's every bit as common for it to be the male as it is the female. And it's also reasonably likely to be a combination of the two or completely unexplained, which I don't agree with unexplained, but it is out there.
Well, it's just, not explained yet.
Not explained yet, either by current medical lingo, diagnosis codes, which trump everything it seems like, or we just don't have the vocabulary to describe it in a succinct way. But you better believe, all my ladies, it's going to be explained, even if it's not in like a succinct code, a diagnosis code.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you have some aspects of this. Let's look at this. And we are going to explain it. There will be no stone unturned.
We want to understand it completely.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I'm here to explain it. Like, let's explain. I was diagnosed as unexplained infertility. And in hindsight, I understand that, like, we just don't have all the answers sometimes. But baloney, I'm here to get answers.
Right. Well, and that's the beauty of science, right? Is it's ever evolving.
Thank goodness.
It's not done.
Thank goodness.
Like, I think sometimes the public get unsatisfied with not having answers are well enough answers. But the reality is like, 100 years ago, there were things that we just perceived as magic.
Yeah.
That
Potions.
were not, in fact, magic.
Elixirs.
That we have the language and the science to understand now. So who knows, in 50 years, 100 years,
How much more we'll understand.
But we have to put the research into it.
We do. I mean, even, let's see, IVF maybe about 40 years ago became more commonplace, or a lot of research had been done. So even like 60 years ago, the idea of an IVF protocol where you're taking someone's eggs, fertilizing them out here, and then putting them back, that sounds like science fiction. And I hope that the trajectory is such that we'll put those resources into furthering our understanding of fertility so that women can hopefully conceive on their own and not. I love having IVF as an option, and I would love there to be many options.
Right, yeah, because it's expensive.
It is very expensive.
And it's draining.
It's not
Emotionally.
everyone's desire to go that route. Like, I was 25 or 26 when I was told that might be my best option. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Though.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I mean, that's my husband and I. We were kind of told, like, this is probably going to be y'all's best bet. And we were like, we good.
Yeah.
We good.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, but no thanks. I appreciate the professional opinion.
Yeah.
But that's just not what I wanted. And I know that I'm not alone in that. I know a lot of women who are like, I feel like there's a lot left to look at that perhaps we could look at that doesn't just put me on this cascade of interventions where it's like, well, we tried letrozole, it didn't work, so we're going to do letrozole plus IUI. Well, now you're just kind of in the assembly line of fertility options, and you don't feel like you can step off, like you don't have the kind of autonomy to make that choice where you don't have to do those things. You are allowed to have an informed decision where you decide if those are the interventions you want.
Yeah. And I think a lot of women, it's a little bit of fear too.
Totally.
Like they already feel behind because they didn't get pregnant as quickly as they wanted to. And so it's like, well, I just want to get this process going.
Exactly.
Like they don't want to get off the assembly line because it feels like that's going to set them further behind when that may not be the case.
It may not be. And to each her own. Some women who get, for example, an AMH, which is a peak in your, one way to look at ovarian reserves. If it's less than 1, that kind of gives us an idea into how many eggs you have on deck and how healthy everything's looking, how well you might respond to IVF medications. Well, that person might make an informed decision that because it is less than the threshold, maybe I do want to be more aggressive than I had originally thought. And I didn't think I wanted to do IVF necessarily, but now I have more information. I want to make the best decision I can make with the information I have.
Right.
But there are lots of women who are in between, who don't have, who aren't sure where they fit.
Yeah. So my husband and I were having this conversation the other day about sort of the rise of infertility and how it's feeling a little like, in the media at least, that it's feeling like it's on the rise. Some people have even called it like an epidemic, infertility, and how, do you have any opinions on what you attribute that to?
Do I have opinions? Have you met me? I think that there's definitely more metabolic syndrome, so more insulin resistance, more inflammation that we're seeing just because of the standard American diet that I think is contributing to kind of a suboptimal fertility picture, because essentially if you induce enough insulin resistance, you're going to impact somebody's fertility, and we as Americans have a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I think that increases the amount of infertility we're seeing. I think there's an aspect of it that women and couples are having to wait later to start families for either just because they want to, or they feel like they are not financially stable enough to, they want to get to a certain point in their career, all very understandable. So I think that contributes as well. But I think there's also some amount of infertility that we are hearing more about because at least it's part of the conversation. It's not hush-hush anymore. You don't need to feel ashamed about it. If it's between 1 in 8 to 1 in 6 women, you don't have to carry any sort of secretive nature about it. And so I think because it's part of the discussion, we hear about it more. So we perceive that it might be more common as well.
Yeah.
And 50 years ago, nobody was going to talk about that.
Like most things, like we just talk about things more. I mean, we have the internet. We have microphones.
We have the World Wide Web.
We have microphones to talk about things. No, I agree that and there's so many examples of that, of a lot of things that it feels like it's more prevalent than it used to be, when the reality is it's just, well, no, we're just more comfortable sharing and being vulnerable, and we have more resources to be able to amplify voices, and people are more comfortable telling their stories, and which, you know, is good and bad sometimes.
It is. But I mean, there are examples that are discussed in the Bible. It's all the time about infertility. So it's always been there. And I think it's a win for women's health to have it talked about more. But I think there is some aspect of it that has to do with our diet and lifestyle. But it all comes back to, if a woman doesn't feel comfortable advocating for herself, doesn't feel like it's a valid request to her healthcare provider to have it evaluated, she's not going to ask.
Right.
And so I really want women to know that it is important. If it's important to you, it's important enough to ask about.
Yeah. Yeah. As a person who doesn't have children, doesn't intend on having children, I still want
a lot of cute dogs.
I do have a lot. 5. I have exactly 5, maybe more by the time this airs. Who knows? We never know.
Maybe by the time you get home.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's the one. The husband is the problem. Yes. No, but I still love to advocate for women who want to have children to make it as easy for them as possible. Like, you get to, the thing about feminism that is often misunderstood is feminism is about choice. It's like giving women and empower women to have the choice and to feel empowered to make that choice, and to, in this case, if you've made the choice that you want to have kids, to have the choice to get help and to get education to get to that goal.
Yeah, to not have to wait till some magical 12-month mark to get checked out. No, you don't have to do that.
Right.
You can have, you have lots of options, and they don't just involve being on birth control when you don't want to conceive, and doing fertility medications when you do. There's a whole arena that exists in between.
Yeah. And birth control, like...
Don't get me started.
Oh, I know. We probably shouldn't even go there.
I'm not saying... It's nothing against contraception. My issue is with treating it like a treatment when it's not treating anything.
Yes. And it's... Hormonal birth control has a lot of side effects.
It does have a lot of side effects.
That I think is often swept under the rug, because birth control is seen as the woman's responsibility, as in a lot of times fertility, like in general, it's always on us. Either way.
Doesn't have to be. Yeah. Not if we tell all the people that it's just as likely to be the men.
Yes. Men, dadgummit.
Get your antioxidants on board, men. We got to get your sperm count up.
And don't wear tight shorts, right?
I mean, they're nice to look at.
You're not wrong. I wonder if baseball players, they wear those tight pants. Has anyone studied sperm count?
Not me. Not going to either.
Oh my God.
Not.
But Josh we've been really into watching the Braves this year, like past couple years. And he thinks I just really like the game of baseball.
Great. Also thinks that I love SEC football. And I do.
I do enjoy watching the games, but there's some perks.
Yes.
I love it.
I'm going to tell you a story about SEC football when we're done.
Okay. Can't tell that one on camera. I'm interested to hear it now. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about? So, okay, let's talk a little bit about... So you started this business 2 years ago.
Let's get back on track,
Circle back.
I could talk about fertility too long.
You started this business 2 years ago.
Just about, yep.
So what has that been like, your first kind of round as an entrepreneur?
Wow. It's been a hustle. Also, I had a baby 10 days after I launched.
That's
Not
right.
exactly on purpose. Like, I intended to have my website, all the brand assets done with about a month ahead of time. But, so life goes. And so that part was kind of wild and not universal. Like, that's not everybody's experience with launching a business, and that's okay. But I'm really glad I did, because it was fun to have her even in the launch stuff. So the first tax season is always like, you're like, I gather up with all this and all this. And so that was a learning curve. I was really fortunate that in my previous job experience, I had launched clinical services. I had a role in rebranding and recreating the website, and I had a hand in our social media. So I was familiar with the game, as you might say, and I was familiar with what kind of hustle that took. And in all honesty, it didn't scare me one bit, because if I'm going to hustle and I'm going to bet on something, you better believe I'm going to hustle and bet on myself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Because if you're going to, that's the thing, you can work for somebody else or you can work for you.
Yeah, and I may never get rich at doing this, but I will bet on myself every single time, because I know that I will do what it takes. And I know that I'm just going to do what it takes. And there is just no alternative. And there is nothing I would rather be doing with my time. And I'll take that bet every day.
I think that is such a beautiful thing. And the coolest thing for me, one of the coolest things about being an entrepreneur is taking that leap and jump on yourself and the amount of like kind of confidence building you have to get there, but also just having the freedom too.
Sure.
And like knowing that there's just so much pride. Even if you don't make a lot of money,
It's not about that. It's
yeah,
about the babies.
It's
about the babies.
That's the thing when you find something that you are, forgive me, passionate about.
No, I'm sorry, Ma.
Why doesn't she like that word?
Because she thinks its original use is for the other context, and she thinks it's overused.
Well, she might be right about
She has
that.
a master's in English. She's probably right.
What
but
would be a good alternative word?
I could ask her. I'll ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, we'll ask ChatGPT. What is an alternative passion? But that is the coolest thing, is like recognizing that, like, yeah, you may not ever be a millionaire being an like doing what you love, but doing what you love is a really satisfying thing.
It was important for me to see my kids see me do this.
That is a cool point.
And I know it was also good for them to see me leave in scrubs every day and go do a ton of math and make IVs and whatever, see women in clinic all day. I know that was good for them to see too, but I'm glad that they have, I've shown, especially the oldest one who's 9, what goes into the backside of SEO, what goes into a website, all these things that go into making a business successful that he wouldn't get to see otherwise. He knows what I'm doing when I close the door.
Right.
You know what I mean? And building something for us, for myself. And I find that really motivating and gratifying that they see their mom pursuing something, and that they know that if they have an idea that fits, that meets a need, then it's an idea worth having. And just because somebody else didn't have the idea first doesn't mean it's a bad idea. And if you are in a room, you deserve to be there. And just because you think you might not be the expert, when something comes that naturally to you to be motivated in it, well, that's how you can tell you're the expert, is because it comes so naturally to you.
Yeah. I love what you bring up about sort of modeling a life for your kids. I think there's so many moms that have so much guilt that maybe they want to step into entrepreneurship or open their own business or their dream job or whatever, but they have so much mom guilt around doing that. But what I say to women is, you are modeling what success looks like.
And grit.
Yes, and hard work. And like, yeah, you might miss a couple baseball games, you might miss a PTA meeting here and there, but you are showing them. Kids learn best by modeling.
They do. They do.
Like, they learn best by watching not what you say, what you do. They don't listen to what you tell them.
No, they don't.
It's about how you live your day-to-day life, your decisions that you make about your life. That's what impacts your kids. And even though I don't have children, I follow a lot of like psychologists and child therapists.
But you are a daughter.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and that's true, because that is what I think has been the most impactful on my life, is watching my mom work. And it never occurred to me, by the way, until I was well into college, that women didn't have jobs.
Right.
Like, it literally did not occur to me that being a stay-at-home mom was a option, which it is, and it should be.
Yes, yeah.
But that's just how my brain was so formed, that you can be a mom and you work. Like, that's just life.
And if it comes down to, like, especially when I was returning to work from maternity leave with our first son, I had no other financial option. And I of course, I did enjoy what I did for so many years. But what I knew I couldn't feel bad or ashamed about that, because I was making the best decision for him that I could have made. And so I can't feel guilty about making the best decision for our family, even if it means I'm not with him as much. It did mean that the time I had with him was quality time, because it was more finite. It means I really just had the mornings and the evenings, and if I could sneak in a lunch break kiss, that kind of thing. But you can't feel guilty for doing what you have to do to keep your household afloat. And so you if you ever about yourself, just go ahead and never think that again. And I also thought that returning to work would mean that my son wouldn't realize that I was mom. Like whoever the caregiver was the most would feel like that was mom, and that's absolutely not true.
Right.
They know who mom is, and they still prefer mom. So if that's a holdup for you, know that they will always know who mama is, and that's a joy whether you're home with them in the day or whether you get home in the evenings and time for dinner. It's a joy then.
Yeah.
They come a running.
Yeah. I feel like I need to say though that not to say that if you did choose to be a stay-at-home mom that you're not still a great model for your kids. Like
absolutely.
definitely,
I do.
you still
I
are.
do more of that
than anything else.
They see me do more of that than anything else because I'm with them during the day, and I love that as well.
Right.
And I love for them to see that they were a priority in their youth,
when they're little,
in their little bitties,
and that that the words is hard. To quote my mother, she says all the time, words is hard. To be a stay-at-home mom is obviously you're still modeling great things for your kids. I just want to make sure that all moms don't let the idea of I can't do this dream or start this business or whatever it is your heart is telling you that you want to do, don't let you being a mom hold you back from that.
Exactly.
If you have that.
It doesn't preclude fulfillment in any other area of your life. And in all honesty, I think me pursuing something that motivates me, they reap benefits from that because they have a happy, fulfilled mom, and that's important for them to see just as much as anything else. And it's important for them to have a healthy mom.
Yes. And I think it's cool for kids to see, wow, my parents are really passionate about this. My parents are really driven. My parents are really focused on some goal, because that's going to show them how they should live their lives, that they should find that for themselves.
Absolutely. I hope I'm modeling that you can build something out of nothing. This is not even a niche that existed 5-10 years ago. If it doesn't exist and people wonder why you're doing it that way, that's probably a good thing. And I hope they grow up and think, oh, I thought everybody just found something and made something from nothing.
Yeah, it was like a founder of a business.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I thought everybody knew that was possible.
Yeah, what an encouraging thing to look.
So.
Yeah, to look back and be like, wow, my mom really did that while she was also making me lunch and all these other things.
Or sending you money.
Yeah,
for the lunch room.
Whatever it is that you need. And like you said, I am a daughter, and I am just so my mom has come so far from nothing, and I just have so much respect, love, and admiration for my mom. And my mom was not there for every game. She didn't cook the tastiest, most wonderful meals.
Me neither.
Sorry, Tina.
Sorry, Tina. We were nourished nonetheless.
She knows this. She wasn't the Pinterest or Betty Crocker domestic mom. She wasn't that at all. But I was loved, and she worked so hard. And I look back on my childhood, and I'm like, my mom worked so hard to provide for us. But you know what? She also did it for herself. She was building something, and she was proud of what she did.
Well, yeah.
And
Tina.
Yes. And I think that really impacted me in the most positive way, to see my mom work so hard for herself. That, of course, most things, pendulums can swing too far a direction. But in my case, I think my mom balanced that really, really well. So,
Go Tina.
Go Tina. Tina's the best. She broke her arm.
Bless it.
She's a mess right now.
My mother is also great, but she did not break her arm.
Well, let's see.
My mother's on my social media a lot. And whatever the opposite of a troll is, that's her.
Oh, yeah, she's the cheerleader.
So hashtag psychobalance mom.
Psychobalance mom.
Her grandma name is Wubby, so oftentimes it's just Wub. That's what she gets called. And man, she's liking, she's sharing, she's commenting, doing the most.
We love the support.
Yes, but sometimes I'm don't listen to this, mother. Don't do that.
Yeah, because I kind of thought when you said the word cervical mucus, maybe we should have done a disclaimer.
I know. My mother doesn't like whatever she thought I was going to be doing with my degree.
This was
It was not this.
On the internet, talking
On
about
the internet.
perfect on mucus.
It's like, don't let anybody talk on the internet, won't they? Whatever
But
they want.
it's informational. It's just bodies.
It's bodies.
And I think people outside of healthcare sometimes don't. I get it. It is hard, and when you first get into it, it is hard to think about. Like, we're just meat sacks. We're just like body parts.
Meat sacks.
What did you think I said?
Sex.
Meat sacks. We're meat
Like,
sacks.
how does that work?
We're
What does that mean?
The accent gets me sometimes.
Accent gets me.
But yeah, it's just like, yes.
It's like an elbow to me at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
like-
I just don't even care.
And like things that are gross, that's a social construct anyway. And like,
Some things I'm like, yeah.
I just feel like we should, was the word that's coming to me right now?
Normalize it.
Normalize is what my brain wanted to say.
I don't really want to normalize like
No.
nose boogers.
Well, maybe not. I mean, but no shame. I guess the point is it can be gross. We can use the word gross, but maybe not associate shame with it.
Let's don't, because if everybody has it,
Yeah, you shouldn't be ashamed of it.
what are we doing here? Like, yeah. Like,
Oh, she cut off.
oh, just momentarily though.
She'll
Just a moment ago.
be fine. Anything else you want to talk about? I feel like we covered a lot.
Why my mother is calling me when she knows not to?
She knew we were talking about her.
She like jokes that she's omnipresent. She's just,
Maybe she's got your phone bugged.
I hope not. It's everywhere.
Terrifying.
Woof.
All right, let's see. Anything else we want to touch on? I feel like we talked a lot about what you do. We talked about we tied in some motherhood entrepreneurship stuff, which I think was good.
Yes. I feel like we didn't talk much about the businessy side of it, but we talked about a lot of other things.
Yeah, and I feel like
Any old person can talk about that.
right. Well, and I the context of this for me, I feel like is just like women. You know,
Women.
like what it's like to be a woman and a mom in your case of like a lot of kids. Yeah. And still trying to do the hustle and find the
I
time
know
for
what I was going to say when we were talking about hustle.
Okay, I'm ready. Lay it on me.
This is probably not going to sound that profound now.
Okay.
It's
It's
the idea is that when I was auditioning or trying out for something, they have to pick somebody. It might as well be me. So I'm going to throw my name in the hat. And if somebody's going to build something like this, might as well be me.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to do it. Might as well be me.
Yeah.
Might as well give it a go.
Step up to the plate.
Somebody's going to do it. Well, shoot. I guess I could do it. Might as well be me.
This is such a poignant conversation for me because right before this, I was in therapy and we talked a lot about imposter
syndrome. Yes.
And
It's who am I to just decide as a pharmacist that I could be a fertility provider in this arena? Who do I think I am? I'll tell you who I think I am.
yeah, Catherine Needham.
Remember it. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Therapist. Yeah. It was a lot of talking about. It's just very on point to what you were saying that imposter syndrome. And sometimes I think that I've worked through a lot of things. And then when I dig around down in the brain area, I'm like, oh, maybe I don't have this as figured out as I thought I did. And by the way, this is a hack. I think I've talked about this on here before. When I leave therapy, I pull up ChatGPT and I talk to ChatGPT and kind of rehash the session and things that we talked about. And I tell it to summarize it and then give me feedback.
Oh.
Life hack. Because it will so that way I have notes of what we talked about to kind of refer back to.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
I like doing work at home, journaling or whatever. And then also it'll kind of she called me out today.
Ouch.
She did.
That never feels so great.
She was like, she was like, well, maybe, I can't remember, basically, ChatGPT said to me, maybe you wanting to empower, encourage other women, and that deep desire is stemming from an overcompensation because you do not feel empowered or encouraged. It's
Owie.
ouch.
But maybe also it's because somebody did that for me and I'm going to do that for somebody else.
Yeah.
So take that, ChatGPT.
I think there's there's truth to both of those things. I do think that it is a trigger point and a hurt point for me, a pain point, because there is some truth to it that I didn't always feel empowered or encouraged, and I don't want anybody
Never.
to ever feel like that. I want everybody to feel empowered and encouraged. So
Yeah, other people can do X, or that's for other folks.
mm-hmm.
No, that's for you.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Digging around and I think I thought I was more confident than I actually am because a lot of anxiety about the future stems from a lack of confidence. Because for me, I get anxious about what the future holds because I'm not confident that I can handle it.
But you can.
But and I'm trying to change that thinking that
Yeah.
and I changed a lot of how I think about my body. I did a lot of work in my 20s.
Interesting. Yes.
On like how I talk to myself about my physical appearance.
I talk to women about that a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I was very, very critical and I was very successful at simply just stopping talking to myself in a way that I would not talk
To anybody.
to anybody. And so I really changed the way that I think about my physical appearance and my physical confidence. And I'm realizing that I still have that kind of work to do about some like more internal things.
Yeah.
You know, like in business especially.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about entrepreneurship too that I love is that you can't be an entrepreneur and not be willing to grow. It gets always pushing you.
It is. Oh, there's always a hustle.
Yeah. Even if you don't want to be pushed.
But the hope is that, and I did not come up with this metaphor, so I can't take credit for it, that it's a spiral staircase instead of a linear process. So yes, you are facing situations, issues that you're like, I thought I dealt with this already, but it's from a different perspective. It's not just linear. It's not like you're making progress and going back. It's that you have a different perspective because you've moved up a spiral staircase, and now you look at that situation or that issue differently than you would have 5 years ago because you have a different vantage point.
Yeah, and in different situational things that are like hitting the trigger from a different angle, so it feels different.
But it feels better if you can frame it by saying, well, why can't I get past this? It's
Right.
like, well, no, this is something that I will always have to deal with, and that's okay as long as I do it from a different vantage point.
Yes, and it just accepting that about yourself. Like,
Yep.
there's I work with my husband a lot on this. It's like you are never done
Nope.
with like mental health or like demons or struggles that you may have in your life. Like, you never like bury them in the ground. Like, they're always gonna kind of come back, and that's okay. Like, that doesn't mean that you didn't do the work. That doesn't mean that you should feel like shame about it or anything. It just is what it is. Like, you just tackle it as you go.
And you play your ball from where it lays.
Yeah.
Lies. Like, you wherever that's what you can do is change how you move forward with it and not feel shame about you facing the same issue again. It's literally just being like, well, yep, but this is something that I face often and hopefully differently this time than last time, and I will course adjust as needed.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna let the frustration of facing it again deter me.
Yeah, totally. All right, well,
That's a wrap.
I think we fixed all of our problems.
And all of yours.
Yes, that'll be $79.95.
Oh, tell them where to find me.
Yes, of course. We'll do that. We'll do a little outro. Thank you for joining us on the podcast today, guys. It was fun. Thank you, Catherine, for
Thanks
coming.
for having me.
We will have all of her information, where to follow her on socials, how to work with her, all that stuff down in the description. I know she would love to hear from you.
I would.
Let her know where you found her, so she knows it was from
Indeed.
the podcast.
Yes.
What's the other thing I was going to say? I don't remember. If you have any questions or anything, let us know in the comments as always. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye. Okay, now we'll do a little